Hey everybody, welcome to the Magician with a Microphone podcast. I am your host, Chris Lengyel of Chris Lengyel Magic. Today is April 26th, 4/26, which is actually surprisingly a lucky number of mine. Maybe I'll get into why in a little while. But I haven't had a podcast in 2 weeks because I've been busy. I'll be honest with you. I've been dealing with things on a personal scale and a professional scale. I had to make adjustments to my tour this last week. Took 2 shows off of it. We'll get into that. And I also got to play golf. So, there's that. Maybe we'll talk about that today. Started up CT golf reviews again. So, yeah. That is underway. I've got 3... Well, I guess you could say I've got 3 reviews done so far. One of the reviews is an absolute joke, but it's also like I guess an ad for my friend Pete's carnival game. we did a gig at Trinity College, and we were doing a show, carnival games. I was doing close-up magic, a little of everything. And one of his games, they have like maybe 10 or 11 frame games where it's like an 8x8 metal frame with a canvas that you strap to it, and it's a game. Like some of them you throw like a banana into a basket that a monkey's holding, or the other one's like a hockey game where you take the hockey puck and try to make a goal, and so you hit it at the frame. But one of them is a golf game, and the intention of the game is to try and hit the ball closest to the pin, and they have a wedge and a really shitty putting mat, or it's not even a putting mat, it's a welcome mat. I guess it's the best way I can put it. And you get 3 chances, and you got to hit the ball closest to the pin, which is a little red circle. And I was trying it for a half hour, and I told Pete, I was like, wouldn't it be funny if I reviewed this on my channel? He's like, you should totally do it. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I will. So I set up, like, the intro. Like, I did the whole CT Golf Reviews intro. I did the, hey, it's Chris with CT Golf Reviews. Today I'm reviewing, and I, pan over to this frame game. I'm like, Pete and Chris Amusement's Golf Challenge. So... yeah, and then I ended up reviewing it. Shot a couple of balls at it. Talked about what I usually talk about with the courses. It's about 2 minutes long. So, I guess it's a review. More of like an ad. I guess you can call it an ad. I don't even know what to classify. It's a joke. But who knows? Maybe if somebody sees that, they'll be like, oh shit, you can rent that. For like a party. So I've got that, and then I did 2 courses over the last 2 weeks, and almost didn't happen. The first one almost didn't happen because that turned into a whole fucking shit show. When was the last time I did a podcast? After WrestleMania? I think that was the last time I did a podcast. No, last time I did a podcast was with Rich DiCarlo. And we were talking about ghosts. So, yeah, I think it was that following weekend. I was supposed to start my golf reviews. Now, here's the thing. So when I do my golf reviews, it is a gig. It's a side hustle that I have. I occasionally, I'm not going to say occasionally, most of the time I get paid to do these things. Because when I first started doing them as a hobby during COVID, I never expected to get anything out of it. I was just playing golf because it got me out of the house and it was something to do. And then I had courses reaching out to me saying, hey, we saw your video here. Can you come and play here? And then somebody from there would reach out, hey, we saw your video where you were reviewing this course. Can you come review ours? And it got to the point I'm like, okay, I'm either going to not pay greens fees or I'm going to be getting paid for these. And a majority of the time I get paid for them, and I don't charge a lot. I charge maybe $100, depending on how long I have to be out there. Most of the time they cover my greens fees, give me food, give me snacks, which is nice. I basically play golf for free, but I have to be filming. Which sucks because I can't just go out casually and play. You know, with the exception of, like, Shuttle Meadow Country Club, which I have to play probably next week. I have a free game that's going to be expiring soon, and I have to take care of that. So I'll be going up there and playing for free. But at the same time, I also perform there multiple times a year. And, you know, so in a way I am working for it. But I get paid for these things. And 2 weeks ago, I was getting ready to go out and do Airways golf course up in West Suffield, which is driving distance. And I'm not saying driving distance as in a car. I'm saying driving distance as in you can tee off from the 15th tee box and hit the runway. That is how close you are to the airport. I mean, you get there at the right time of the day, and you're at peak hour where the planes are taking off, and there's like, within 4 hours, there's 20 jet airplanes that fly over you, and they're low. Really low. And I'm one of those guys where I like to watch airplanes take off. I'm a plane spotter, so I'll do that whenever I get the chance. I have an app on my phone that allows you to see any airplane in the sky, with the exception of a government plane. And it'll tell you where they're taking off from, where they're going, how many miles they have flown, how fast they're going, what their altitude is. They'll tell you basically everything except for the information of the pilots and the passengers. But, you know, so I had been meaning to review this course for a while, and I had finally, it was like, you know, fuck this. It's a Sunday, it's beautiful out, I'm going to go. And that didn't really work out too well, because people are, no, and when I say people, I'm going to use as little detail as I possibly can to not incriminate and or point the finger at anyone, but certain people within my bloodline are nosy and can't keep their nose out of other people's business. And my daughter was at the neighbor's house playing. She was good to go. My girlfriend comes up to the house. I put my clubs in her car. I was looking for my daughter. I went down to my cousin to see, because my cousin lives right down the street, to see if she was down there, and it turns out, nope, they're in the neighbor's house. She's playing. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool, awesome. Everything's taken care of. My grandmother knew I was leaving. My father knew I was leaving. And I have to let them know because I have the kids at home. Everybody knew what was going on. So on paper right now, as you're listening to this, you would think, yeah, you're in the clear. You get to go play golf. You get to go and do your thing. Nope. According to some people, it's the end of the world and I'm a deadbeat father. So I get a phone call. You're not going to play. You're not going anywhere. Take your clubs out of that car. I'm on my way over to your house. You're not going anywhere. And then all shit hit the fan and I literally almost moved out. I was packing my shit, ready to go. So I didn't go play golf that day. So Easter, I said fuck it and went and played and skipped out on Easter because I was still pissed at everyone. So I was so mad that day, I was shaking. I couldn't hold a water bottle. My grandmother offered me her edibles to calm me down. But the next weekend, I got my review in. And, Yeah, I reviewed Airways in Suffield, and I love that course. I think it's a great course. I think it's very underrated, and I feel like more people should know about it. And I hate the fact that it's so unknown because it is a great course. And the only problem I had with it were that the weather was pretty. It wasn't necessarily cold, but it wasn't as warm as I thought it was going to be, and it rained the night before, so the course was soaked. I mean, fucking soaked. To the point where every ball I hit into a fairway, I had to dig out of the ground because they would just keep plugging. You couldn't hit a shot too high or else you would bury your ball. But the greens were great. They were almost perfect. So, I reviewed that course. I'm not going to give out the score because the video's not up yet. I'm probably going to put that up on Saturday. Because I actually want to get a couple of courses done ahead of time. So that way I have backup. And I don't care if, like, I put the Easter, the video from Easter up in, 3 weeks. Who cares? You know what I mean? So, because when I first started doing the reviews, I was doing 2 a week. And then I realized, well, shit, now I've got nothing to go into, December. And I ran out of videos. Now I post nothing on the channel from, I would say, December until about April. So, can't do that. But then, Saturday, was it? No, Sunday. I reviewed Westwoods in Farmington. Never even heard of it. It's a course I had never heard of. Didn't know it was there. I was supposed to play another course that day, and when I called them, they were like, yeah, we're packed. I'm like, fuck. All right. So I Googled golf courses near me, and that one showed up. And I'm like, okay, we'll try that one. And it was nice. It was weird. I'm not going to say it was weird like, oh, that's a strange place. No. It was a layout that I had never seen before. It was an executive 18-hole course. So, yeah, pretty strange. So I've got that. So the 2 reviews, the 2 actual courses, and then my friend's joke. I've got 3 reviews. But you know what? It felt really good getting back out on a course. Golf is my getaway. It's how I let out all of my anger. I can't say it's a stress relief because it's the most stressful game on the planet. But it's my happy place. And the best part is I turn my phone on do not disturb mode when I'm on the course. So you cannot text me or call me when I'm on the course. Because that's my time. It's my time alone. I don't get that anymore. Because my ex is a deadbeat. So, and I'm not going to get that for the foreseeable future. Time by myself and the ability to not have to worry about my phone ringing unless it's for a gig. Even then, I don't even talk gig. I don't even mark it on the course anymore. I take it to myself, But the way I see it for the foreseeable future, for the next couple of years, I have no life. So I might as well play golf. Might as well play golf because I can't do anything else. My freedom is gone. My freedom has been gone since October of 2021, and I will not be getting it back anytime soon. Because certain people that must not be named on this podcast because their name isn't worthy enough to come out of my mouth can't seem to understand that it takes 2 to tango. And when I say that, I mean that you can't just drop your fucking kids off with your ex because you don't want them anymore. That's all I'm gonna say about that. So yeah. So I take the time that I have when I'm not doing gigs, when I'm not with my kids, when I'm not marketing, and I go and play golf. It's my calm, it's my relief. And yet, the people that I live with still have a problem with it. Or at least the people I live down the street from have a problem with it. It's all right, though. You know what? Everything happens for a reason, people. Just remember that. I have a list of places that I want to play when it comes to, CT Golf Reviews Season 3. I've got a couple of private courses on that list, too, and I'm going to try to reach out to them and say, hey, look, this is what I do. This is where I've played. I've done this before. I've been invited on private courses before. Can I come and do your course? Because I have 2 courses in particular that I am dying to play. One of them is Racebrook Golf Course down in, I guess you could say it's in Orange. It's like borderline Orange and Derby. It's almost near the line. The second course that I would love to play, is the Fairfield Country Club. And that is in Fairfield, obviously. But it's like right on the border of Fairfield and Bridgeport. But it's right on the water. And from the looks of it, from the street, and from the angles that I've seen it at, it looks gorgeous. And if I was able to get that on a clear day, that would probably, like, my scenery would probably hit at least a 9 or maybe even a 10. I don't give 10s for anything. But I'm waiting for the certain places, that deserve it. I'm not saying that I would never give a 10 out. I'm just saying that, as a final rating, I would never give a 10. But for a sub-rating, like I include in my course reviews for, say, scenery or layout, or because I take into consideration scenery, layout, course conditions, and staff. I would give a 10 if they deserved that. However, for the final review, I would never give a final score of a 10. I've got some places where the scenery is a 9. Farmingbury in Wolcott is one of them. And I think it's a gorgeous course. I think that the view that you have is, like, stunning. All right. And people who are listening to this who have probably played there and you're disagreeing, you're like, dude, there's so much more pretty courses in the state except for Farmingbury. All right, hear me out. When you're standing on that first tee box, on a clear day, when it's not raining, when the sun's out, when there's not a cloud in the sky, and you overlook through, like, over the edge of the hill, because you could see over the trees, and you look into the Apple Valley, and you can see Castle Craig out in the distance, and the highways right there, and you can see all of these peaks and, the cliff sides and all of that stuff, like in the, in the center of Connecticut. It's fucking gorgeous. There's a couple of courses that I've played that I've given the scenery a 9. Farmingbury is one of them. But nobody's gotten a 10 yet. And people I'll put my reviews up every once in a while. I'll put the full list. This is where you stand. And there are certain courses where they have, like, the same rating, which is going to happen, But, like, people are like, oh, well, you judge them too similarly. No. What I do is I judge them fairly. I'll talk about I'll take a lot of things into consideration. So, like, if you have a pretty scenic hole, but the rest of the course looks like shit, I'll take the hole into consideration, but I'm also going to take into consideration the rest of the course. Like, for example, let's see, what course could I use as an example? You know what, here, let me pull up my list. I've got my course list right here, all of my ratings. Let me see. Course list, let's see, notes. Here we go. So the top course on my list right now is Oak Hills Park. I can vividly tell you right now that course, the scenery rating was about a 7. I think it was either a 6 or a 7 because there was not a lot to see there. You know, there's again, there's factors in my rating. Like. And when I say scenery, I'm not just talking like, you know, your views from certain tee boxes. Because if that's the case, you know, there's a couple courses I know right now that I have not played yet, or at least I have not reviewed yet that I've played, that are going to get 9s for scenery. Maybe 8s or 9s for scenery. I know 2 right off the bat, but I'm not going to tell them. But you know, if you factor in, because the way that I do it is I take all of the sub-ratings, the scenery, the course conditions, the staff, the layout, I add those up and divide them, and basically the rating is like a mean. Even though this season I've been kind of just spurring the rating off the top of my head. I mean, I've got them. Like I said, I have a way to calculate it, but you know, the more I think about it, the more I want to change things. And, you know, I don't want to, I want it to be as fair as possible. So now I just review the course right there on the course. Like, right as I'm done with the 18th hole. I used to wait until I go back home. But no, now I'll just review them right there. Oak Hills Park in Norwalk is my top course. That has an 8.9. Mind you, nobody's gotten a 9 yet. And I have a couple, I know that there's going to be maybe 2 or 3 courses in the state that are going to get a 9, but I don't know how high in the scale it's going to be. Now, a 9.5 is going to have to be a pristine course, okay? That's going to have to be an elite course. I mean, the staff is going to have to be damn near perfect. The course conditions are going to have to be damn near perfect. It's going to have to be a beautiful course no matter where you look. The layout is going to have to be easy to follow with full cart paths and, you know, different and fun. Okay? That's going to have to be you factor all of those in, and if all those are good, then that gives you a very high score. But somebody asked me what I would rate Augusta, and I said probably either a 10, probably a 10. Because if Augusta is as beautiful as it is on TV in person, and it plays as unbelievably, incredibly as everybody says it does, you know, and I already know the layout of Augusta. Amen Corner alone would get a fucking 10. Their scenery would be a 10. You know, like, that would be, in my opinion, that would be a 10. But as far as I'm concerned in Connecticut, I don't know if we have anything close to that. Everybody says Lake of Isles, which is Foxwoods, the casino's golf course. The public one and the private one. Because there's 2 of them on one property, which I would want to play both. People say, well, then again, Oxford Greens is also on the top of that, near the top of that list, which is my second highest rated course with an 8.8. And that, dude, that was on there for a long time. That was on the top for a long time. And the only reason why Oak Hills Park beat that out is because Oak Hills Park is not situated within a neighborhood. The golf club at Oxford Greens is. But it reminds me a lot of TPC River Highlands, which I've never played before, but I've seen it on TV. It's where they play the Travelers Championship, which is actually going on, I believe, next weekend or the weekend after. I want to try to get tickets. I want to go, if I'm able to. I even said, I'm like, if they ever decide to not do the PGA at River Highlands anymore, go to Oxford. Because it's fucking gorgeous. And the course is great. The layout is fantastic. And the staff, they love me there. Shout out to Josh. And the company that owns it too, Alliance, they're terrific. They're an amazing group. They're very easy to communicate with. They basically bent over backwards for me when I reviewed Tunxus. And I told them not to. And they did anyway. So, but Oxford Greens is another one where it's a gorgeous course. You know, I like the marshy areas. I like, some of the holes are very scenic. But at the same time, it gives you a good feeling. I don't know why. It gives me a good feeling. It's a hard course, but I like it. It's another one I'd probably not be able to fly my drone over because it's right next to an airport. So, but then, you've got on the other end of the list, you've got some horrible courses. I'm not going to say they're horrible because, I probably caught them at a bad day. You got to consider a golf course like a restaurant. You probably caught them at a bad day. But when you play there 6 or 7 times and nothing changes, then yeah, you deserve to be at the bottom of the list. Laurel View Country Club, which they basically asked me to come back and try again. And you know what? I'm going to. Because I've seen pictures. I pay attention to this stuff. I've seen pictures of what the course looks like now. I will give them the benefit of the doubt, and I mentioned this when I reviewed their course. When I reviewed it, about 3 weeks earlier, a tornado passed through the course. A literal tornado. Right through. It's in Hamden, so they had a very sporadic touchdown. It's like a skipping tornado. There's a word for it, but it was like touchdown up, and that's what it did to the knocked down a lot of trees. Basically. But they had cleaned it up relatively quickly, okay? So I gave them the benefit of the doubt. Mother Nature was not on their side, so I could not count that against them. What I could count against them was the fact that their bunkers felt like baking soda. Those are the words I used in my review. The bunkers feel like baking soda. They are difficult to hit out of. They're dug in. They're caked. Some parts are hard, some parts are soft. It doesn't feel like sand. They're just beat up. Okay? The greens are patchy. It looked like somebody did donuts on their greens. Or like their aerator dug into the ground and fucking ripped up half of their greens. Their tee boxes are not mowed. Their lawns are not kept up. The fairways are awful. The rough, forget about it. And I'm not even saying that it's hard. I'm saying that it's absolutely just horrific to play on because it's patchy. And the grass sucks. Okay? And the golf pro in there broke my favorite club. Second favorite club. Not a reliable, but my 2-iron that I had bent on the course because they're, again, horrible conditions. So instead of saying, oh, we could fix the hosel, no, he snaps the entire fucking shaft in half. And then they made me pay for a new one. So I made all of that known. All of it. During my review. Okay? Now, there are good things about it. There are some parts of the course that look really nice when you're standing in certain spots. I do like the layout of the back 9. And the other people who worked there were very friendly. So they weren't going to get the 2.3 that I originally was going to give them. They ended up getting a 4.7. The only course that's below that is Short Beach Golf Course in Stratford, which is, again, right next to another airport. Can't fly my drone over it. But they were just... the staff kind of ruined it. They didn't want to be there. It's like they were there to collect a paycheck. They knew nothing about golf. They didn't want to be bothered to clean out any of the carts or even the bag holders. And I told them specifically I'd prefer to ride because I am anemic and I can't walk too far without, getting winded. Which I know is, that's my problem, but still. There was nobody at the front desk for like 20 minutes. And yeah, it was just bad. Oh, and then I called ahead of time, and I remember this stuff too, because now it's all coming back to me. I called ahead of time. They told me they were packed. They were really, really busy. When I get there was nobody there. I'm like, okay, you got to make yourself sound like you're busier than you really are. So, but I have to say too, Short Beach is also a par 3. I rate my par 3s a little bit differently than I do my my regular courses. Because let me look at my my list here. My highest rated par 3 course. Well, technically par 3 executive. Let's see. Orchards Golf Course is an executive because that doesn't have a par 5. It's only got par 3s and 4s. That's a 7.1. Blue Fox Run, I feel like I should redo that because that's actually 3 courses in 1. That was only the second one I ever reviewed. Candlewood Lake Country Club, that's an executive course. That's a 7.8. That's the highest executive / par 3. The lowest one is Short Beach. The second lowest one is Highland Greens Golf Course, which is a 5.2. And then I did Minor Hills, which is an executive course. That's a 6.5. Guilford Lakes Golf Course is a 6.7. That's a really good one if you're ever in the area. You want to play a good course that they call Little Augusta here in the state. That's pretty. That's a 6.7. Westwoods, which is an 18-hole executive course. That's a 6.7. Yeah. All right. So my highest rated executive / par 3 course is a 7. What did I say? A 7.1? No. 7.8. But I also consider those like different. So like if you're a 5 on a par 3 course, like a 5 rating, that's good. So, man, here I am talking for 33 minutes about how I rate my golf courses, and I'm probably boring the hell out of so many people. This is great. I love it. So, but yeah, so far I've reviewed 36 courses. Would have been 37 if fucking Stanley Golf Course let me do what they told me that I was allowed to do. They want me to reach out to them too. So, but yeah, CT Golf Reviews Season 3 is underway. I don't know where I'm going to play next. I know where I would like to play next. There's a couple of other places I have on my list. Actually, my list is in no particular order. I already did Airways. I already did, I guess I have to add Westwood to the list. Tradition at Oak Lane, Tradition at Wallingford, Grassy Hills Country Club, which I've never played, Orange Hills, which I've played before. I have played Oak Lane before, and I didn't review it. It's actually at Oak Lane where I thought about the review channel. That's where I came up with the idea. Grassy Hill, Watertown Golf Club, which is a private course. Country Club of Waterbury, which is a private course. Laurel View Country Club, which is going to be my second chance to give them. Quarry Ridge, because everybody in the state talks about that course. At least every Connecticut golf group that I'm part of on Facebook, like, oh, Quarry Ridge. I'm like, all right, I got to try that. H. Smith Richardson Golf Course, which is a course I've played before, and I have a feeling I know what that rating is going to be, and it's going to be pretty high. Gainfield Farms, which I've played before, I know what that rating is going to be, I hope. Lyman Orchards Golf Club, all of them. They've got 3 courses. One of them is a par 3 course. So I've only played the Players course, and it was designed by Gary Player, and the only thing I can think of the entire time of me playing that was Gary Player, suck my ass. Because that course is fucking hard. Hawks Landing Country Club, which is where I was supposed to be playing last weekend. Rockledge Golf Course, I don't know where that is. I found a logo ball, and now I want to play it. Glastonbury Hills, that's a private course. I stopped there one day before a gig, and I marketed to them and took one of their logo balls, so now I want to play it. Lake of Isles, which is Foxwoods, and then Topstone Golf Course, which is somewhere up in, like, fucking Southington or something like that. I don't know. No, maybe it's near Hartford. So that's my list of Season 3 that I'd like to play. Could change, never know. Might get the opportunity to go somewhere. So, and then if I were to ever go out of state and do this, I'd probably hit Bethpage. Bethpage Black. I'd want to hit the Trump Golf Course down in New York. Probably Shinnecock. No, Shinnecock. Shinnecock's in Connecticut. I want to hit Shinnecock. And then, like I said, if I ever get the chance to review Augusta, I know that's going to be the only 10 on my list. I would love to play Augusta. As a golfer, it's every golfer's dream to play Augusta. Which, for those who don't know, that is the location of the Masters, and it's only playable for like 2 months out of the year, because then they rip up the course. So, all right, let's move on from golf, because I've already bored enough people. If you're still listening to this, I give you so much credit. I want to get into the tour really quickly. I had to take out 2 courses, so what the fuck? I'm still stuck on golf. I had to take out 2 shows from my tour. For a reason. For a good reason. Well, at least I think it's a good reason. I was working Dave Riley, the comedian, Dave Riley's show a couple of weeks ago, and he started asking me questions about the show at the Gem Room. I did not realize that he's performed at the Gem Room before. He was telling me there's no mood lighting, it's not theater material, you have to supply your own stage, your own speakers, which I have my speakers, I have my music. I don't have lighting. I don't have mood lighting. I don't have the resources for mood lighting, because unfortunately, my tech guy who had all of that had passed away. The only thing that I had gotten from him were the black lights that I bought prior to a show that I did in Seymour, Connecticut, that I actually ended up never using. And I told him, I said, hey, hold on to these in case we ever need them. And when he passed away, I ended up getting them back. So unfortunately, the only chance I have of getting mood lighting is going out and getting a whole lighting system, and I don't have the money for that. And then because it's not a theater, and it's like a table setting and everything, they started bringing up the idea of, food, which I can't supply. Don't want to supply that. So Dave was basically talking me out of doing the show at the at the Gem Room. He's like, go ahead and do it. It's just not going to work out as well as you think. And I took that into consideration. I was like, you know what? You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And he's usually not wrong about this stuff. I mean, he's been doing this for 30 years. If I should ask anybody, it would be him. And I do, and I ask him for advice, from time to time, because, I value his opinion. I value his knowledge of the entertainment world. Granted, he's a comedian, not a magician, but he used to do magic shows. He's best friends with a magician down in Florida that I happen to know of. So he knows what he's talking about. So it's one of those situations where if he gives me advice, I say, thank you for the advice, and I consider it and take it. I don't argue it, because he knows what he's doing. So I took the Gem Room show out. I was like, you know what? It's not going to work. And then I actually found out that the guy that runs the event center in Naugatuck passed away, sadly. And which is a shame for the borough of Naugatuck, because from what I had never met him in person. I might have met him in person once or twice. I just don't remember. But from what I understand, he was a fantastic gentleman. He was very, very well liked by everybody in town. That's one thing I gotta say. When the news broke that he passed away, because I had found out because I called them and I was going to just cancel the show. And then when they told me, yeah, unfortunately, Bobby passed away, I was like, that's a shame. And then when his obituary was released, a plethora of like mourning and just fantastic comments about this man were just pouring in through all of these different, all of these pages from all these different people around town. So, I mean, in a way, it's a shame I never got to meet this guy, because he sounds like just a fantastic person. And I mean, like I said, he was well liked by everybody. So, I can only imagine, what it must have been like to work with him, which I'll never get to do now. But unfortunately, the Gem Room show has been canceled, which sucks because that was the opening show of the tour. And I refunded all of the tickets that people bought, and I explained the situation. So if you're listening to this, which nobody is right now, let's face it. If you bought tickets to that show and you didn't, because I know who bought the tickets, you will get free admission to the Bijou show in December. So we could just say that. Then I went ahead and canceled the Portuguese Club show because I knew I was going to take a loss on that. They were asking way too much money for the amount of money that I'd have to raise for them, because it was a fundraiser. You'd think that you'd be like, grateful for what you are given. No, we want a minimum of this. Okay, go fuck yourself. So there's that. And then everything else is going according to plan. I just got to make a payment for the New Hampshire show, and then we're good to go. We're off to the races. And I really hope I get a payment together for the New Hampshire show, because I already sold tickets for it. So, but yeah. As of right now, 10 shows. 9 cities. Let's go. First show was July 2nd. That's when the tour starts. And then everything else is, aside from the Portuguese Club and the Gem Room in Naugatuck, everything else is going. We're good. Going out to Chicago in August, it's going to be a fight. I can already tell. Because, again, don't have a life. God forbid I stay out for more than one night. Or for a night. So... But yeah, that's the tour news. Otherwise, everything else is going according to plan. I've got a bunch of shows that I've got booked for this year, for this season. I've got festivals I'm doing, private parties, close-up magic galore. So that's great. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be fun. So, but guys, I'm going to get going. I've talked enough. I'm going to... Oh, you know what I should do is I should explain why 426 is a lucky number of mine, because I brought it up in the beginning of the podcast, and maybe I should actually go into detail. When I was younger, my father and I used to watch Mr. Bean. Now, if anybody's ever watched Mr. Bean, there's one episode where he books himself a night in a hotel, and he's causing a whole bunch of shenanigans and everything, and he's messing with his neighbor in the room next to him, but in that episode of Mr. Bean, the room number was 426. And that's just always a number that stuck with me because I always liked the Mr. Bean, and it's a memory that I have with my father. So, 426. That's why I like the number. All right, now I'm going to get going. All right, guys, I will talk to you later. I'm Chris Lengyel with Chris Lengyel Magic. This is the Magician with a Microphone podcast. I'm going to hopefully get a guest in maybe next week. I'm not sure yet. So I'll talk to you guys later.